are, so I just kind of put in a number, but I did reach out to them and they did respond back. Their unit price was 85, which is less than the second bidder. So, so that's how much it would cost to mill and resurface the parking lot out there, both sides.
How long would it take?
This company I hadn't used before. Another community in Bradenton had been familiar with them. So now I've used them twice and I've been very happy with them, and their schedule seems to be pretty aggressive. So I can't ask them, but.
I just had sorry, go ahead.
When was that scheduled to be redone?
We had, I don't know if this is working. We had talked about doing it, at least in facilities, we had talked about it in the fall, but obviously that's passed. And I think at the last board meeting, Ken had suggested that we push it back. It's kind of in rough shape, but I wondered, looking at the price, how much of it is because we've got to bring equipment in just for something that's a fairly small job. So is there something we could do that's between those two rather than dropping a whole pile of money? Because the next paving job, I don't think per the reserve study is due till 2029.
Yeah, I was asked to reach out to get the numbers. So, yeah, there's some places there that I don't notice base failures, but there's some places there that just look rough, but you know, I didn't notice base failures. With the road that is the inverted crown, that's where the water likes to collect, and that's, you know, right at the inlets. That's what tends to wear out first. So you will get some puddling around the concrete frame of the inlets. But the rest of that, I mean, it's, like I said, there's no base failures that I could see.
So we're good for now. There might be some aesthetic issues there, but basically we're good for now.
That's my observation.
I think
We should defer it.
I think we can hold off on this.
But now we know what the cost is
Okay.
gonna be. And again, I mean, this is a fairly sizable project, so if we had roads to be added in, I don't think the price for the parking lot would have dropped that much.
Okay.
One of the companies I was anticipating to get a bid from is the one right next door, but they did not. So for them, they can get here in just a couple of minutes, but okay.
Okay, thank you.
And then on the pickleball, the vendors told us that fence with the panels should withstand 100-mile-an-hour winds. Well, Dave and I, we talked about that and says, well, I'm still not comfortable with that. So he removed 3 of the panels on the west side, 5 on the north, just to allow some air to come through. So despite them telling us it would be okay with them still up, obviously we saw what happened out there. So I think from going forward, the plan would be just to, you know, for any hurricane, roll up the screen in the front like they did, and then the panels take them off.
When do you think we can get a repair?
Right now there's fences down everywhere, so we'll just push.
Okay.
And I don't recommend going back to the company that we had to begin with, because we had some issues with them. And I know when they were first out here, they had the wrong size of the posts.
Right.
And so I just don't trust them.
Can you reach out to some vendors and see if we can get somebody?
Miles looking at some right
Yes.
now,
Okay, good.
and so we'll work with him.
Okay.
With that too.
Sounds good.
And Miles is also still trying to get numbers for running electric.
Correct.
I don't know if he got that yet.
I don't know, but I'll find out.
This past week was kind of,
And we've documented the conditions out there. just in case someone's able to fix it right away. And
They've got photos, lots of
Lots
photos
of
with
photos,
the.
And video, everything went to, Melinda.
Do we need to approve, if he can get somebody in quickly, do we need to approve a repair as a not to exceed amount, or? I'm just asking, because if you can get somebody in 2 weeks, we won't
we
have.
could,
What's,
good.
what's a ballpark figure on that? What do you think?
I have not walked it really closely. I was going to do that right afterwards, but I mean, the fencing, I believe is okay, it's the posts.
Right.
So I would have to think that would be well within your spending authority,
So the posts are shot.
Okay,
right, just to replace the post.
Are we good with that?
yeah, not to exceed 20.
Yeah, you should just get it done.
Do you want to pick a number?
Yeah, I would
what's
say
the
20,
number?
not to exceed 20.
20,000?
that's a motion.
Yes.
Okay.
That seems like a lot to me. I'm just saying, I don't know what it costs to repair a fence, but that seems like a lot.
Well, we're just picking a
Well,
ballpark.
I thought we were picking
Exceed,
I
yeah.
thought we were picking your.
5,000
So
I
if
can
you
do.
said 5, you said 20, so can we pick
I-
something in the
well-
middle? How about 12?
12.5.
Well,
Okay,
No, I can go with 12.
okay, you have your deductible is $5,000, your minimum is 10,000 in damages. So I would suggest a not to exceed of 10.
10,
At
okay.
least that's what I would
Okay.
suggest.
Fine. Okay,
Okay.
Okay, so
That
is
gives
that your
us-
motion, Bernice?
that's my motion.
okay, I'll second that.
Okay.
Let's call it.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye. Okay, so if by luck, we get somebody that can come in sooner, we already have the money put aside.
And I have been reaching out, the other guy that was supposed to repair the surface blemishes, right, at the netting, the posts.
Mhm.
He was due in the middle of this month. I've been trying to reach him to verify what his schedule is, so I would think that's gonna be done in the next couple weeks.
Well, I have a question as to operation, continuing operation during this period prior to us having the poles fixed. Can the activity of pickleball continue?
You asking, can they play?
Yes.
On courts 2 and 3, can they play? Is it safe? I think is the question.
I'll go out there to look and see how bad the breaks were.
We have one open right now.
Right,
Yeah, one's open and it looks like the center and there's a net down there.
But with
So
no fencing and you're gonna have balls flying into the road, I'm not sure.
who's going to get hurt by it?
I'm just asking.
You know, I just made an inquiry.
yeah,
That's all.
they kind of set it back up.
Yes.
So
Oh,
it's
okay.
still,
Yes.
I mean, balls aren't gonna.
Oh, I see, okay.
It's just the top bars that are kind of,
Yeah, but is there any sort of
right, and it's the question is that a safety issue?
Yeah, I
or are they
haven't seen
solid?
it. Is there any sort of dangerous condition there? Is a pole gonna fall down on somebody, God
Um,
forbid, or?
When I go out there, I'll take a better look at that, but right now they're up. So if we have another windy day, then maybe don't want to hang around out there, but again, if it's a windy day, I don't think they need to play anyway.
Well, can you go out now
Folks,
and,
please,
Yeah, during our meeting?
yeah, during the meeting, can you go out now and do a
just do a
investigation
survey and then come
or
back.
overview and then come back and report to us, say in the
Yes.
next hour?
Yes,
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you for that.
and that's all I had, so I
Okay.
could go out there right now unless you got anything
Thank you.
for me.
Thanks, Rick.
I believe common sense will prevail here.
Just a quick question, Rick, I was looking at the minutes, so you had talked at the last meeting about the curb header out there. Is that, I have to apologize, because I'm not sure I noticed whether it was there or not. Is that done?
I don't know if it was there.
Okay.
I don't know if they put that in or not when they did the rest of the work. I was
Just asking.
Check
Okay,
check
thanks.
too. That's what will keep the rain and the sand off. So I don't know if they were out there. picking the brick was a key thing because some of the bricks were up to like a 12-week delay. But I'm thinking we could use a more readily available, but I'm not sure if they've done that out there or not. So I was gonna look at that also.
Thank you, Rick.
Andy, do you have anything to report?
I do. Good morning. I just wanted to report back on a number of items that were on our to-do list from the last meeting. So the first is, as you'll recall, we had the landscape architect RFQ board picked, Kimley Horn to proceed forward with. We are very close to finalizing their agreement. They sent us a master service agreement. Amy Farrington from my office has been working on this. Her and I together have come up with our comments. And I think Amy was just waiting on an additional document that you were gonna get her, Belinda, with all that's been going on. So we're close on that. On the Juniper, LMP to Juniper issue, I did prepare an assignment, and that assignment is inclusive of requiring updated insurance certificates like we talked about. I know Belinda sent it to LMP. I spoke with them just this morning before the meeting.
It's done.
Okay, yeah, they said it looked fine for them. So once it winds its way back, then we can get that executed, and that should take care of that issue. I was asked at the last meeting to take a look at the waivers that we had for usage of the amenities. I made a couple of comments to those. They were, in substantial form, the one that I had prepared just a few months ago. So I did make a few other minor tweaks to them and sent those comments back. So I believe that that is ready to proceed. As you know, after the last meeting, we revised that little political flyer incorporating the comments of the board, sent that back out. We had prepared the contract for the pizza oven and other kitchen equipment, so I know that's with Vesta. And we had also prepared the contract, Jill, for the locker room architect, and I know
Great,
that's what you're
okay,
committed.
super, thanks, yeah.
So other than that, I'm glad to answer any questions. Like I said, it's really just an update on some of the to-do items from our last meeting.
There was a question, Andy, about residents helping out with work, specifically with taking down the netting on the pickleball courts. Where are we liability-wise?
Unless we have volunteer insurance, and I know Belinda and I emailed a little bit about this, we do not have volunteer insurance here, correct?
Correct.
So unless we have volunteer insurance, it's not something that I would ever recommend. Volunteer insurance is something that is offered by your insurer. It's usually not too expensive. If it's something that this board's interested in utilizing in the future, then I would recommend that you have Belinda take a look into seeing what's available from our insurance company and what the costs are. I know for a fact in another CDD, we have done this. All the residents came together and refurbished a bridge. But in order to make that happen, we had conversations with the insurer. We got the proper insurance that was recommended in place, and it allowed them to do the project. So absent that, I would not recommend it.
Okay.
Can I ask a question on that then? The HR, the hurricane response team was helping direct traffic on District Road. So if something had happened to one of them, I assume despite the fact that they're directed, if you will, by the community association, they're really our residents, so we probably should consider it on that basis, do you think?
Well, there's a significant difference there in that, it's not our project. We weren't the ones out there, we, the CDD,
Right.
we're not out there managing this process. That being said, anyone, someone walking today and falls on a sidewalk, we have potential liability for things that go on our property. So if the board is interested in looking at volunteer insurance, it'd probably be another good question to ask Aegis.
Would a waiver work for that? Like if you have two pickleball players who want to be the ones who roll the nets, could they sign a waiver and say, I understand I'm doing it at my own risk?
A waiver is always better than nothing, than not having a waiver, but it's not a safe all.
So we're better served by looking into volunteer insurance,
If you,
just to cover us.
right now, I would say no volunteers.
Right.
If you want to be able to utilize volunteers in the future for projects, absolutely you should get volunteer insurance.
Yeah, I think we should.
Can we get a
You know,
quote on
investigate.
that?
Yeah, I
Now-
mean, Belinda can probably answer this better than me, but it's my recollection, it's not exorbitant amount of money.
It's not.
But we also have to address the fact that, wasn't it the community association who manned the guard gate?
Yeah.
That wouldn't be covered by our volunteer insurance, would it? Or
Well-
would it? Yeah,
It's not as simple because the carrier is going to require, it's a minimal cost, but they require detailed information. So we would have to provide them with information such as how many volunteers, how many are gonna be utilized at one time, what kind of activities are they gonna be doing? So we have to be specific when we apply for the coverage. So for example, if you're gonna have volunteers for pickleball, you'll have to be specific as to what type of activities they'll be doing, how many hours per year, even if it's best guesstimate, but we'll have to provide that
And that's a lot
information.
different than being out there with chainsaws cutting up trees.
Exactly,
right.
And do we have to give them like estimate or their health, describe what health condition they're in? Or
No,
restrictions they
no,
have?
it's
We don't
limited
give them
like
to,
that.
no, it's limited to how many annual hours and what type of activities.
Yeah, okay. I think it's something.
Well, there are a couple of things that we do. You know, we do Shred Fest. And
Right.
Shred Fest involves
Right.
20 or so volunteers.
Right.
Moving stuff around and the county comes in with their shredding equipment.
But
you
this
know.
is specific to CDD
Yeah,
activities.
that's.
Right, but the whole hurricane response team is not a CDD entity.
That's all right.
But,
Correct.
so do all of those things, what I'm asking, do all of those things can all of those things be covered?
If it's a CDD sponsored event and you're utilizing a CDD facility, then it would be something that I would recommend that you
Okay.
report. But
Okay,
if it's not, then no.
But it still might be worth asking the question, say, when, my recommendation anyway, when Belinda is in touch with them saying, hey, you know, we've got some volunteers, want to roll up the nets, you know, et
Right.
cetera. And by the way, there's this other entity, not CDD, Hurricane Response Team in our community, and, you know, they helped out at the gate. What sort of issues does that pose for us?
and, you know, and more
Yeah.
specifically, Shred Fest takes place in our parking lot. So it is on CDD property. I think we should look into the insurance. And see.
Yeah.
Okay.
My personal view is this, that CA, the HRT through the CA provides a tremendous value, and I think we should at least consider it.
They may
because
have
of
their
the-
own insurance as well. You don't know.
Oh, they do, okay. Tom says they do.
Oh, okay. All right.
But again, as to how they interplay, it's a question to ask.
Okay,
Okay. I made a note, so I will ask for a proposal.
thank you.
So unless there's anything else, that's what I have.
One quick thing, the new and improved waiver, does that include pickleball? Is that
Yes,
pickleball?
we're gonna use it as one.
Got it, okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Andy?
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks much.
Julie, do you have anything to report?
Yeah, just a couple of things. In the absence of Bernard, I'm here to support the club. He will be back on Tuesday, October 2nd. This vacation was scheduled prior to him being hired, so I just want to make sure that the board knew that. The team cleaned up on Friday. We weren't able to be open, and then Saturday and Sunday, and the support of the community was really great. We had a lot of people Saturday and Sunday. I would like to bring to your attention the information chain. Because there was internet here, yes, we wanted everyone to know, our only way to inform people is through an email. So theoretically, of course, well, how are they supposed to get it? We said, well, we were hoping that the neighbors that perhaps got the communication could pass the information. I would ask the board to consider for next year, hopefully we don't have to experience it again this year, but for next year to have some kind of other chain of information very similar to what the military does. For example, by neighborhood, there might be one leader and then you knock on your neighbor's door. I don't have a better suggestion than that, but it is something to think about in order to get a message out, because I don't remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, it was such a challenging thing with cell phones and with information. But if there's something that we could look at to help facilitate that was a challenge. People were happy they were able to come here, but how were we supposed to get out to everyone?
Very simply, we could put it in the newsletter.
Yeah,
Put a note in the newsletter that it's very possible that the Wi-Fi signal up at the River Club, it will be strong enough. Sir?
Mary sends out countless emails during the storm.
Right.
And she could, if there's, I'll talk with her about, if there's next time this happens, run up here, have one of your team members run up here and see if this is on, and then put it out through her.
Yeah, but people can
You're
get
right. But I know in our community in New Jersey, what we did is we have an information board at the front, and you write it on internet at the River Club. That's it. Everyone's gonna be funneled to that door.
If we
That's
make
the
it
easiest
known,
way.
Right underneath welcome home.
Welcome, yes, when you're welcome home, sign.
well, we'll
Hotspot
add that, and I'll let Bernard know, he'll add that to his SOP for situations like that. From Vesto, we had calls every single day. And if someone couldn't get on a call, we had other ways to try and go to that person's house or whatever. So I think we will absolutely look at an SOP that if this happens in the future, this is what we could do to help get the communication out. We're moving on the pizza oven, just so everyone knows that. And some of the other notes that Bernard wanted me to say was we're working on the food costing everything, a bunch of different things that you could read there, board. I did want to introduce Jen Von Luders. She's here with Vesta. She's our regional marketing director. She's helped us with the photos for the website, for the new website, and helping us with the catering menu, meaning just to modernize it, not anything about the food or the pricing. But it really does help to have a person support us in those endeavors. And she will also help with some grassroots marketing so we can get some more of these catering business together. So thanks. Thanksgiving, just to report, we have 3 seatings. The 2 first seatings are sold out. This morning we put out the Thanksgiving to go. That's correct, right? The Thanksgiving to go. That will be available on Wednesday. So that's where we're at. I appreciate everyone's time. Any questions?
What was the reaction to eliminating staff meals?
For what's that? I'm sorry.
Starting November 1st, we'll no longer provide free employee meals.
For,
What was the reaction of the staff?
What was the reaction to the staff on that?
Thanksgiving?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No staff.
It says, starting November 1st, we will no longer
Well,
provide
yes, sorry
free
about that.
employee meals.
I think the staff understands. I mean, in the business, there's a lot of different ways to do it. We are going to try and set up a microwave. We talked about with one of we had some different ideas perhaps of another area that maybe the staff could have, but we'll have a microwave for them, refrigeration, and it's we didn't really have any negative, but you know what, we just got through the hurricane.
Right.
And I think it's important to know, thank you, the board, and the residents for understanding, because some of our team members didn't have electric. I think by now, almost everyone does have electric that I recall. Okay, some had to evacuate depending on where they lived. So I don't know if they got their chance to react to that quite yet. So I don't want to tell you the wrong information, but we will absolutely put a positive spin on it.
Okay.
Okay?
I thought that was sort of an industry standard, a perk.
It goes, it really depends, sir. I mean, it goes a couple different ways. People do it differently. But yeah.
Okay.
Right.
You did a lot of covers, right, over the weekend? I think.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah, we really, we really had a lot of people came, a lot of the residents commented on how much they appreciated us being able to be open, because as everyone probably knows, out there, there's still a lot of Dunkin' Donuts, a lot of them are closed still, or don't have donuts, so you can go there for coffee. But, so it was nice to hear that appreciation, and the team felt very good about being here as well, so. Okay,
Thank you.
great,
Julie,
thank you.
one question. The month-to-date actual cost of goods sold for beverage, is that a typo, or did you guys go on a buying spree, or it's 257%?
Yeah, no, that is a typo,
Okay, good. I was
because if
hoping
you
it
look
was.
at the year-to-date, Bernard had this ready before he left. I only briefly looked at this morning, my fault, so sorry, but I think when you look at the year-to-date, it's, yes, ma'am.
188.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you,
no.
okay, thanks you guys.
Julie, did you get a better price from Coke than Pepsi? Changing over to Coke in November?
For,
Changing over to Coca-Cola products in November?
right, it is, I don't wanna, it takes a minute because you have to get a refrigeration, it's like a thing where you hold the ice. So originally Bernard thought October 21st, but we're not quite ready for that yet. So some point in November, it'll be Coca-Cola products. Exciting, right?
I'm happy.
Okay,
I'm not.
great.
I'm not.
Thank
Well,
you.
too bad.
Half
I'm
the
happy.
people will always be unhappy.
I've been unhappy for years now, I'll be happy with Coke products.
I love it.
Thank you, Julie.
You can't get your mouth to do that.
Keith, do you have anything to report?
Just a few little things. LMP is out there on the property. They've been here, since Friday, I believe, trying to get things. Now they're going around the ponds, making sure that any trees that need to come up that are down, come up. There's 8 mailboxes down. Our welder has been informed. Dan is out there getting everything staged for him to be able to just come in and weld as many as he can in one day, and then we'll reset those. Of course, wire has to be reran and redone and some of those things. Street signs are down. I'm not sure how many. We'll get a count on that. If they can be put back up, we'll go ahead and do that. But if the signs are missing and gone, then we'll have to get with Lycans and get our signs redone. Hopefully, it's not going to be months like the Darren Ian that we went through without some street signs. Other than that, we're going to be taking down, there's a palm tree that's leaning over pretty good out in the, and so we're gonna take that down. And it's just too scary to try to, build that back up. But we're gonna take that down. Cleanup, I think, has gone well. There was some concern about dumping out on the street, and there were some emails going around about that. That is not happening now, okay? We're going to use the big field over underneath the power lines where the pickleball was gonna be before everybody was gonna die. And so we're gonna stage out of there a little bit, and LMP they'll put it there and then pick it up and take it to the dumps. We are putting signs out there that says CDD only. All right, we don't want other vendors thinking that they're gonna save them, because they're getting paid to move it out, dump it on CDD, and we're gonna remove it for them. That's not happening, so I've put 2 signs out there. If we see somebody, we'll let them know, no, pick up your own trash and take it out yourselves, especially vendors, okay?
But if the sign says CDD only, we can bring ours down there, right?
Yes.
Okay.
For 5. And I do want to have a moment of silence for my Royal Ponciana tree out in the middle out there, because I know it's all chopped up and gone. So if we could please take a few moments and just kidding.
It was a quick viewing.
Yes. So, but it's gone. We'll have to, the committee will come up with another recommendation to put whatever else out there. I'll guarantee it probably won't be a Royal Ponciana.
It may not even be a tree, in my opinion. Maybe, yeah, exactly.
I was thinking a statue.
Exactly, and it's not gonna be a statue of Mr. Bracco, however.
I think we could have a vote.
A fountain.
Get the lions there from the front gate.
Oh, God.
Oh,
Just saying.
Anyway, yeah, lots of options.
lots of options. So that is forthcoming. So there's still some, different things that I've got to get out in the community and pull together of, other storm damages. I gotta get out to the Othello Wall. Haven't been out there yet to see how that is. So there's a few more things, but I will keep you all abreast of what I find today and tomorrow.
And you're working on our American flag at the front.
Yes, the American flag at the front, the rope broke at the very top.
Oh, that's what that was.
And it came down. Dan has, he borrowed a lift from, and I've had to talk to him about that, and he couldn't quite fix it, but we've got with the fire department. The fire department, when their truck gets back, it was out. They're gonna help us get up there so that we can get that threaded back through and get the flag back up.
Okay, that's good.
Do we know when the gate arms are gonna go back up?
Yes, I just got a call from our gate people, and they're down south today and tomorrow. So it could happen as early as today, as late as tomorrow.
Okay. And will the gate arm on the residence side be a fixed one, or is it still gonna have zip ties on it?
We'll hope that it's, that's, to replace that,
Yeah,
$800 and some odd dollars
yeah.
to have that replaced. I can certainly do it, and so it's, but I'll have him take a look at it and get it done.
Keith, is LMP is gone? I don't see them.
No, they're gone.
But Bill had said to me the palm that had completely fallen over, he said they were gonna be able to reset that one. Because he
Over
said
here?
the root ball is,
The one that was just planted over here?
no, by the guardhouse.
Oh, okay.
There's one that was completely down. He said they could reset it. Would you check on that?
Yeah, he had said that to me, and I'm not real sure if that's, they've got to get some heavy equipment in here to do that.
Right, and if they're gonna do that, can we save the one that's leaning? And my only question is, it costs a bloody fortune to replace those with
Yes.
and so if that root ball looks pretty intact on that fallen palm, if they can actually reset and replant it, if they're bringing in the equipment, I don't know, would you just check?
You bet.
Just to make sure, thank you.
Thank you for being here on Saturday.
Yes.
It's not your day to work. Much appreciated.
No, we're here.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
All right, few things on my end, supervisors. I am going to need to know whether or not the board does want me to submit an RPA for this storm event, but only for the debris portion. Obviously, the mailboxes, we know for a fact FEMA's not gonna wanna cover your mailbox portion. I can submit for the pickleball courts, and I can submit for the debris portion, I can submit for the signage, but I want first to be sure before I move forward. We might as well, if we're gonna do it, we might as well get it started now. It's a new event, new storm, but we do have to start the
Did
process.
we hear anything on the debris yet?
Not yet,
I mean, we're all expecting the answer, but we haven't received anything.
no.
What's our deductible on that?
You don't have a deductible for your debris portion because you're not covered for debris removal.
Right.
So we don't know what your costs are
Deductible is
going to
infinite.
be, but
Exactly.
LMP is working diligently to get us a list of all the trees. Just food for thought. I mean, I think at this point you should consider whether or not you want me to move forward with it.
Are you talking about a FEMA submission?
Yes. Yes. For each storm, you do have to submit a new one.
I mean, my question is how much we spend on submitting and negotiating with them and how much time you spend.
Well, right now I haven't billed you for anything for the prior storm or this storm, but if you want to get the request in, there's a time frame for everything because of the percentages that FEMA will pay. That's why I'm asking. I would get it submitted because if there's a window of percentages at this point for debris removal, I would submit at least,
Okay.
And
I think-
And by the way, since you already now know the pattern for how you have to
pretty
submit.
much, and now
Last
we
time-
have a pattern for appeal as
Yeah,
well,
okay.
so.
We're
Yep.
I would think we should.
And I think
I would think we should.
We should.
Okay, so I'll submit, it's gonna take probably a week before we're activated in the portal, but I'll go ahead and get the RPA started so that the board is aware.
Do we need a motion or anything?
No, I'll just put it in the minutes that the board was in agreement with moving forward with a new RPA for debris removal. Do you want me to also put something in for the pickleball courts and the signage, or just the debris at this point?
We may as well give it a shot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, just so that the board is aware, because a lot happens behind the scenes prior to storms and post storms. I did have Chris is not here, but I did have a lot of conversations with LMP prior to the storm. I exchanged correspondence with Chris. I outlined what the expectations were for documentation for the district. Post-storm, given our experience with what FEMA requires, I outlined everything to LNP on what would be required on not just invoices, on everything, what diameters would need to be reported, if a tree was uprooted, what we would need, what if a tree needed to be flush cut, what dimensions would need to be provided, what we would be expecting on invoices, labor hours, everything. So they were in agreement to provide us with that information. He was very diligent in responding to my calls. Prior to the storm, he responded to me. Post-storm, he responded to me, and he was the first person on site post-storm. So he conducted an evaluation, responded to my calls. He was very detailed in what was happening. Crews were on site when he said they were gonna be on site, and Bill Gibb was with crews when he said they were gonna be on site. So I really do appreciate their response, because I can tell you, I've experienced lack of responses on many, many areas with other vendors, and some locations are not doing as great. So I do appreciate that.
They
But
were here on Sunday. They were here yesterday.
yes,
Yeah.
they have been very
Which was-
Every
responsive,
single day.
yes.
That was,
Merger's work.
He was very
Really?
accurate in his response as to what damages there were, how much debris there is. I'm waiting for a list of all of the trees that were, that they had no choice but to remove and cut. I did see some uprooted root balls, which we did talk about. If the board would recall, we don't want to disturb any earth. We want to flush cut. We want to remove as little as possible, because that's a big thing for FEMA when you're submitting a claim. So he's aware of that. I think that's why they probably left the root balls as is, so that we could have a discussion as to how they're going to deal with them after the fact. So we'll talk about that as we move along, as we have a better picture. But if you see them, I saw them along the main as I was driving in. There's a huge oak one, right? You can't miss it, it's there. But that's why it was flush cut, because they don't want to disturb the earth, because we have to have a discussion about it.
Right.
And I could tell that they're adhering to what we asked for, because we really don't want to have a back and forth with FEMA coming back to us saying, well, we're not going to cover you, or we're not going to pay for this because you didn't follow through with what was requested. So we've done that part. So when I receive a list from them or further documentation, I'll provide it to the board for review. Budgets are done, budgets uploaded, submitted to the county, submitted everywhere. We're done on that part, fiscal year end, done. I am expecting our audit any day now. I did receive an email from the auditor asking the typical fraud questions, whether or not, which, Rich, you should be getting an
I
email
got
as
it.
well.
I got it, and as soon as I got internet back, I responded to Mr. Gaines, I believe.
Yes, I did want to talk about the communication part, because going back to what happens behind the scenes, a lot of your phones did not work. So I'm not sure if you know, but your phone didn't even go to voicemail. Rich, your phone was just going straight to voicemail. So Julie, I was trying to call Julie. Julie was trying to call me. I ended up using my office internet line because I couldn't get anybody on the phone. Bernard ended up calling me from the airport, because phones in this area, in Manatee County, Tampa, were just not working. So in one district where we have major cell phone issues, there's still major cell phone issues, there's internet issues. Even if you put website pop-ups, residents are not gonna see them. So there has to be some sort of an alternative where there's no internet, there's no phone. The sign issue is a great idea, because maybe a sign can be posted, but I'm not sure what other options can be explored for the future. One thing I will say is, we did talk about opening the facility, but if there's no power, I don't believe this facility has a generator. So I think
That's not-
you have to keep that in mind when you decide to open the facility. If there's no power, you don't want to open the facility if it's not generator powered. You were lucky because the River Club did have power, which was a great thing. But if it doesn't have power, I would suggest you measure that part before you open it. But other than that, I mean, Venetian was very lucky.
Yes.
Andy mentioned I'm working with Amy on the landscape architect contract. There's a few things that she needs from Kinley Horn, which I'll be sending her. And then once we have everything ready, we'll send it up to the board for review.
Okay.
Any questions for me?
Any idea of year-end financials, timing,
You mean the audit or you mean September's?
September?
Well, after the 20th. So today's the 14th. I don't know when Vesta should have them over. I mean, unless they're delayed because of the storm, which I don't think so, but
That's what I was wondering, if it was
Yeah.
gonna be.
normally Ricardo will get them over to Vanessa and then she'll get them over.
We had talked in our workshop about possibly pushing the November 11th date for the next board meeting back to the 18th. Is that something that's possible?
I know you asked that, but technically I wanted to ask this because the new supervisors don't take their seats until the second Tuesday after election.
19.
So it would have
Oh,
to
I
be,
see, okay.
it would have to be after the 18th, so it won't be able to be until the 19th or any other day after that.
Right, so the new board members by statute take their office 2 weeks after.
Oh,
So that would be the 19th.
I
Then they
see.
would have to be sworn in.
Right,
You don't have to swear them in at a meeting. They
Right.
can be just sworn in by a notary.
right.
But on the 18th, it will still be
I see.
whatever the current
Okay, so it doesn't make
composition of the
sense
board
to,
is.
the
It's
only
up to
reason
you.
it popped into my head was that with the new board to have two meetings before the end of the year, because we've got advisory committees, et cetera. So organizationally, I think it might be helpful to have two, because otherwise we would just have one.
Will you
So,
still have the meeting scheduled on November 25th? Is there a meeting scheduled?
no,
I think we only have one, but let me look.
Because of
it
Thanksgiving.
was 11th and then the 9th of December. So then I guess that question would be, we do December 2 and December 16.
I mean, it's hard, Jill, to schedule meetings when we don't really know what the schedules are of the newly elected supervisors. We don't know their travel schedules as well, given the holidays are in the middle also.
I would think we go through this every year, and I think staying with the schedule we have, I don't think it's gonna be that. It's that.
Yeah, I was just
difficult.
thinking about the advisory committees, but I guess we could just,
I
the
think
information can go to them anyway. And then
Exactly.
it can be just, yeah, okay.
So we're gonna stick with the 11th then?
Because we do have November 11th, December 9th,
Right.
January 13th. January, we have 2 meetings.
So we have just taking out November 11th, 12, 9.
Yeah. And then 2 in January.
2 in
And there's no
January.
issue that it's Veterans Day?
I mean.
I'm just asking, I don't know.
Not legally, but I mean,
Okay.
you could decide if you don't want to have.
I didn't know as a
meeting.
government entity.
No. Yes.
So who would serve on that date, meeting date? The new members?
The 11th,
No, that would be you guys.
the 11th,
The 11th?
the
The
11th,
current board,
current
Current board,
composition,
yeah.
the current board.
no matter what transpires that day.
Okay.
You don't wanna do this one more time?
I'm leaving it to you.
Yeah, let's keep it the way it is, that's fine.
We do have a meeting scheduled for October 28th, but we're not holding that meeting.
I don't know if there's a need to.
Okay.
On which day, I'm sorry? I was
This
writing.
month, well, the second one
Right.
this month, 28th, is that?
I think the only piece of business we would have would be the landscape architect. contract, if that would get done fast enough, and if not.
It will, but I mean, I think that you've already approved
We've already
Cameron
approved
Bourne, so I think that we have authority for the chair to execute.
Okay,
That's already done.
If it's ready today, I think it could be.
okay,
That's already done, so.
so I guess,
Is there any storm-related reason why we would need to meet? I guess is the first question. The second question is Ken's got some implementation stuff we haven't talked about yet. So is there any reason we would need it for that, would be the other question I would have.
you mean his, funds?
No, I'm thinking the Jonas stuff and the,
Paperwork.
Access.
access stuff, thank you, the
Is
access
he
stuff.
on?
He
Yeah,
is.
he is.
Ken? Actually, he dropped
I
off.
thought he was on his way to the airport.
He
He
is.
was, but he was gonna
Well,
dial
he may be
in.
flying.
He dropped off. I mean, we can keep it on the calendar, and then if he says that, it's not needed, we can always cancel. Any other questions for me?
For me.
So moving forward, item number 5A, Ernest, you said you wanted to table it, correct?
Yeah, I would,
Oh, Rick is back.
Okay, we do have Rick back, so Rick,
Well, yeah, there's two posts that are bent, they're not creased. That's a good thing. I don't know if they could straighten them or not, but there's only two of them that are kind of bent a little bit. The mesh is completely pulled off for courts 2 and 3. So I really wouldn't want anybody out there until the mesh is put back up. The top rails are all out there. The mesh is in good condition. So it looks like the cost isn't significant. It's just trying to get somebody out here to do that. But if they could pull that mesh up, because right now it's kind of leaning, I don't know if it would start to crease a little bit, but if we could get that pulled back up, zip tied or whatever, just to get it up off the ground. But the posts are in good condition, so if they could reattach the mesh, I think we could open up court 2 just fine. But court 3 is the one that's got the bent posts, so I would definitely hold off on court 3.
Okay, so,
The top caps, where the top rail, the little metal U is pretty thin, so that looks like that's what gave way. So we're looking at that, and then some of the caps are out there, but they were just setting on the top, so they weren't secured. So that's what we're going to ask the fence vendor also, should we secure the caps? So.
okay. So use court 1, court 2 only if the
If we can get
mesh
the
can
mesh
be
back
pulled
up.
back in place.
But right now, court 1 only.
Right, because, yeah, it's just dangerous as far as the
Okay.
ball bounces back and you run it into the mesh that's laying down the ground.
Okay.
That's-
all right, good.
Thank you, Rick.
Okay, thanks.
So we're gonna need, sure that gets caution taped off if it still needs it. And I think there'll have to be a communication to the community, letting them know.
Well, unless they can pull that up, you can,
Can they zip tie it?
Yeah, I mean, we'll definitely.
why don't you take a look at that and see if Sam and whoever
Okay.
can, or
Yeah, court 2.
Miles can get that mesh up there, and then they could open court 2 until we get the rest of it repaired. That sounds reasonable.
Yes,
Yes.
appreciate it.
Okay. Thanks, Rick.
thank you. So, item number 5A, Ernest, you said you wanted to table?
Yeah, we're further table, the letter that we're talking about, the resignation letter was effective December 31st, 2024. So that's a decision I think that should be made by the new board as well as the new liaison. So I would request that it be tabled until then.
Moving on to item number 5B, discussion and direction for implementing the amenities entry ID software process.
Okay.
That would be Ken, but he's not logged on. I don't know if we discussed this during the workshop.
No, he was gonna discuss it, here, so we're gonna have to table that until he's available.
Item number 5C is the consideration and approval of the inter-fund loan process and priorities. Did he discuss this during the workshop as well?
Yes.
He sent,
He
it. Also
sent
sent a
out,
communication.
Okay.
Sent a communication out.
Do we need a motion on that?
What are you trying to accomplish?
The loans between the entities.
It's a process, it's an approved structure of where money would come from in the event of a loan.
To pay for
Yeah.
the equipment.
Well, yeah, I think it's a two-part question because there was a general process, right? And then I think I was wondering whether we needed to have a different motion for
I
the
think,
equipment.
well, actually, the issue is, this is the protocol.
Right.
This is not exactly what we want to do. So we kind of probably need to defer till Ken
Okay.
can weigh in. Because this is, this is just how we should do it. It doesn't say what we are going to do.
Okay.
That's
But
correct.
does that kind of hold up ordering the equipment?
You already approved that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think this is just a,
Okay.
I'd also like to see that approved via resolution, so that it's
Yeah.
a resolution.
So we have to wait for
Do
Ken.
that.
Okay, so we'll
So we
hold
might
on
need
that
to
as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just as a note, there's a reference in there that the funds are a family, the general fund and the enterprise fund. We've talked about this, and the reserve fund, they're pretty much all one fund, they're separated, but you have to take that into consideration in the language as well.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I'll send it to you for review.
Could I also ask a question about the protocol, a show code, I think it's the right word. Do we need to memorialize that somewhere, like in our rules of procedure or something else, so that, if we all win the lottery and buy islands and disappear, where is that memorialized?
Well, that'll be in the resolution of once you
I see,
approve it,
okay.
but
Okay.
if you approve a loan, then you'll actually see that because you'll have to repay it back. So just like we did in the past, I don't know if you remember in the financials,
I do
there was
remember,
loan
yeah.
repayments,
Mhm,
so you'll see those in the
Yeah.
financials.
But I'm just thinking about the protocol itself, but anyway, no, we don't have to.
You'll memorialize it in the
balance
resolution.
sheet. Is that balance sheet only?
No,
No,
you'll
it's a
actually,
statement.
Totally.
you'll
on
see
the-
it.
Income statement.
From personal experience, I'll caution you about buying an island.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess so.
Be careful.
It's
At
on
least
stilts.
on Florida.
Not a good idea.
Be careful where you pick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So we're gonna table this and then I'll send Andy, I'll send him
Okay.
a copy.
Please, thank you.
Item D we discussed,
At the workshop.
Okay.
and it's something that I had wanted to do a long time ago, and now I was glad to see that Bernard has brought it up again. And I think what we decided is that as a board, we support the decision to eliminate the use of credit cards for the payment of monthly dues and allow residents to either pay with a debit card, which doesn't have a transaction fee, or automatic check withdrawal, or come up and pay by check. It was pointed out a couple of times that the golf club did this maybe a year and a half or so ago. Doesn't stop anybody from paying their dinner tab that night with a credit card, but it'll reduce the fees. And the last year it was $32,000, I believe, that we had paid in credit card fees. It would eliminate that. So am I correct, board, in assuming that we are supportive of this?
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
So we would need to memorialize this in a motion.
Chair.
We would need to memorialize this in a motion?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that at the discretion of the general managers to select a date that we no longer accept monthly member charges being paid by credit card.
Second.
How does that sound?
Perfect.
Sound good? Okay.
Second.
Any discussion? Can we call it?
All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye. Okay, so Bernard will pick an appropriate date for this to happen and notify the community of the change, and we move forward from there.
Okay, moving forward, we're now going to move into item number 6A, which is the consideration of the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting held on September 9th, 2024. These are behind tab number 2 for your review. Are there any questions, comments, and/or changes to the minutes as presented?
I have no additional changes.
Then we would need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
We now have item number 6B, which is the ratification of the operations and maintenance expenditures for the month of August 2024. These are behind tab number 3 for your review. The expenditures for the period of August 1st through 31st total to $109,882.77. Any questions?
I just have one quick question. I've always wanted to ask this, and now's my chance. The water boy water, what's that for? Do we know where that water goes?
The gatehouse.
Shade House.
Oh, it's like bottled water. Oh, like, oh,
It's one of
got
those
it.
machines.
Oh, got it.
Cooler.
10 floors.
Coolers.
Okay, that's all I need to know. Thanks. I know it's trivial, but inquiring minds want to know.
Any other questions? We'd be looking for a motion to ratify.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
We do have consent items for your acceptance. There are 4 sets of minutes for your acceptance. Facilities Advisory Committee meeting minutes of August 6th, Landscaping Advisory Committee meeting minutes of June 12th, Fitness and Pool Advisory Committee meeting minutes of July 17th, Racket Sports of May 13th.
I'll make a motion we accept.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Supervisor requests or comments? Are there any supervisor requests or comments?
One of the things we spoke about at the workshop was the repair at the tower, and pointed out that the wood is rotting and something needs to be done. And I had suggested that the new board is going to have to deal with this at some point, but I think the feeling of the sitting board right now is that we have to consider the repainting of the building itself at the same time, because it would be money well spent while the equipment is on property to do the whole place, rather than piecemeal and have to pay twice for a lift or scaffolding or whatever else it might be. So that's going to be something that's going to be presented, but it's something for everybody to think about. Probably should be done. That would include painting the guardhouse, the tennis shop, the back of the tiki hut, which was never painted,
Right.
and some other places around, doing it a complete job. Okay. The other thing that we spoke about is the lighting in the parking lot, and how long those lights have to be on. Right now, I believe they're on a timer, but it's like a dusk to dawn thing. And do we need to light the parking lot throughout the night? Can we light it partially, rather than have every one of those lights burning all night long? So that's something that should be, I feel we should look into. You know, is it on, can we put some of them on a timer? Is that a possibility where some of those lights might remain on, but not all of them, rather than waste the money?
I think our facilities can look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a question too we could have asked Rick. Maybe I'll just put that on the follow-up sheet as a Rick question also.
Do you know, Tim?
Well, currently they are on a timer. We can investigate and see if it's a multi-channel timer that you can program different sections at different times.
Okay.
If not, I'll also investigate if we can just change the timer to a multi-channel timer with multiple times of different sound.
Okay.
Was
If
point,
we do that, we want to decide now, what time would you want,
well, it was pointed out that the gym is available until 11 o'clock.
Yes.
So it would make sense to have lighting available till at least that time.
Right.
Um,
Right
And then
now,
maybe
they
a
can change the
couple.
time to go off at 11:30, midnight, whatever you want.
What time do they go off now?
They don't go up, they stay on all night.
So, but
If
I think
the
that's
timer is
why,
set,
yeah, we talked about multi-channel because I think it's probably worrisome to have them all go off at 11, maybe to keep a couple on, just so we have some light.
I think a couple on for security
I will
purposes.
investigate it.
Okay.
If it's a multi-channel timer, we'll keep the parking lot at tennis court lit.
Right.
The rest of them you want off 11, 12?
Probably 11:30, because
How about
if the gym
11:30?
closes at 11,
Give
give people a chance
to
to
get out.
I'll investigate that this week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Anybody else have a?
Motion.
All right. So it is 11:03 a.m. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.